Welcome to Veterans Voices. My name is Nathan Johnson. Tonight's topic is your VA, County Veterans Service Office. Tonight, we're joined by several guests from the County Veterans Service Office who will talk about various different VA benefits. I'm your host, Nathan Johnson, and I'm joined by my co-host, Kevin Graves.
Tonight, we are excited to start a new series for Veterans Voices called Your VA. This show is entitled Your VA, the Contra Costa County Veterans Service Office. Tonight, we will be introducing you to the Veterans Service Office staff who will share some valuable information on veterans benefits and services. We'd love to hear your voice tonight. Call us with your thoughts on our topic. Have you visited the Contra Costa Veterans Service Office? What benefits were you able to obtain with the assistance of the CVSO? What benefits are you interested in learning more about?
Thank you, Kevin. We're broadcasting live from the CCTV studio and live streaming this episode on our website. We will be taking your calls, emails, and live chats anytime during the show. Our phone number is 925-313-1170, and our email appears below. We welcome you to ask questions anonymously through our live chat link located on the top left of our homepage. Before we bring our guests on, we thought we'd start out by doing a video walkthrough of the Contra Costa County Veterans Service Office. This will give you a better idea of how and where we assist veterans and their families. The Contra Costa County Veterans Service Office has existed since 1946. We're a part of an association in which every county in the state of California has a County Veterans Service Office. Small counties like Sierra and Alpine do not, but Contra Costa County does. And the main thing is we're not the VA. We are a county agency. We are your advocates, helping veterans and their family members understand VA benefits, and if they're eligible, helping them apply. Our main office is in Martinez. We're open there Monday through Thursday, 9 to noon and 1 to 4. We're open on Fridays, only 9 to noon. We have several offices that are outstationed in the community to make it more accessible to veterans and their families. Our outstation in Richmond is located in Richmond on Tuesdays, and is available on a drop-in basis. Well, we're co-located with the courthouse. They're on 37th Street in room 1033. Our outstation in Danville at the Veterans Memorial Building on 400 Harts Avenue is available on Wednesdays by appointment only. We've created a short video to introduce you to our guest tonight. We will return in a moment.
My name is Sid Jones. I'm a veterans rep with the Contra Costa County Veterans Office. I live in Clayton and have a family and raised my family there for the last 19 years. I really like living in Contra Costa County because of the veterans population that I work with. I was in the Air Force for over 11 years working in satellite communications. When I got out of the military, I decided to go to work for the VA, where I gave them almost 20 years at the VA. As a veterans representative here, our main duty is to help veterans and their families deal with the bureaucracy of the VA. We're basically your advocate. We enjoy helping veterans file claims, give them a process and a means of doing it through our office. We also help them deal with any issues they may have, to include any appeals or any death benefits or any other benefits they think they may be entitled to. The most important thing I like about my job is the fact that I can help veterans and to the maximum and fullest extent possible.
I'm Mike Hofschneider, Veteran Service Representative here in Contra Costa County Veteran Service Office. I've been a Contra Costa County resident since 1974. I'm an Army veteran. I served from November 1966 to November 1969. Following my military service, I went to the school under the GI Bill. I graduated college in 1973. I hired with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs as a Veterans Claims Examiner, primarily doing disability and death claims. As a Veteran Service Representative, I interview veterans, family members, and interested parties on behalf of veterans. I provide them with information about VA benefits and services. I also assist them with applications for benefits and services from the Department of Veterans Affairs, as well as state organizations like the California Department of Veterans Affairs. Probably the greatest benefit is just the satisfaction of assisting somebody with a benefit claim that they're entitled to.
We are now joined by two veteran service representatives from the county's VSO, Michael Hofschneider and Sidney Jones. Hoff, Bo, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening.
Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Now, let's start off by, I thought tonight would be a good opportunity for not only introducing our team to our audience, but maybe giving our audience a little bit of an opportunity to have an understanding of the general benefits provided by the VA. Keeping in mind that we're not the VA. We don't provide these benefits, but we are the advocates that understand these benefits because we study them, and we help teach veterans and their family members about their eligibility, and if they're eligible, help them apply. And I think one of the most commonly known benefits, but maybe misunderstood, is the compensation program, often known as Service Connected. Tell us a little bit about why this program exists.
Well, good evening. The VA has a monetary program called Disability Compensation. As you indicated, it's also called Service Connection. This is for those veterans who have a disability recognized by the VA as having been caused by military service.
Okay, caused by military service. Does that mean that the veteran had to have served in war and this is a combat-related injury?
No, it doesn't. It just means the veteran had to have some sort of injury or disease while in service.
And does it mean that it had to have happened in service off?
Well, I just want to clarify one thing. It also could be based on the events that the veteran experienced in service, like we see in post-traumatic stress disorder cases. Does it have to happen in service? There's issues like service connection based on aggravation, where the veteran may have something prior to service, but it becomes worse while in service. There's also secondary service connection, where it may be related, a second disability develops as related to a existing service-connected disabilities. It's important to note that this program is very, very complicated.
It is.
And so as trained VSRs, we're knowledgeable about the rules that the VA uses, the laws, the regulations, the policies that the VA follows. And it's important for veterans, I think, to seek out folks like us to assist them with their claims.
I agree.
So if a veteran has something that they think might be connected, service connected, rather than make that decision themselves, they should come into your office, see you guys, and what do they need to bring with them? How do they need to be prepared for that?
Well, first thing you bring is your DD-214 if it's available. If it's not available, DD-214, by the way, is a report of separation of your military service. If it's available, we ask you to bring it. If not, we can help you obtain a copy of it if you don't have a copy of it. And we also ask them to bring any information about any dependents, because at a certain level, the VA pays additional compensation for their dependents. Something else I'd point out on service-connected claims, they're very complicated, but we try to tell the veterans it's very basic. If you file a claim, the VA is going to require medical evidence that you have the disability you're claiming. There are certain circumstances that the veteran's testimony may be sufficient. And then it becomes a question, can that disability or disabilities being claimed be linked back to that military service, a disease, injury, as Bo said, and as I pointed out, the events the veteran experienced in service.
So what are some of the most common disabilities that veterans may have incurred in the service, or maybe presumptive to their service, say for service in Vietnam, Desert Storm, such?
Well, the VA, they do have a Agent Orange for those veterans who served in Vietnam. It's called the Agent Orange presumptive conditions. And these are some of the conditions for a veteran who served in Vietnam between 1962 and 1975 with boots on the ground. The VA has said that those veterans who served boots on the ground, if they develop any condition, presumptive condition related to Agent Orange, the VA will presume it was caused by the Agent Orange.
Conditions like diabetes?
Well, some of those diabetes, mellitus, ischemic heart disease, Parkinson's disease, lung cancer, prostate cancer, and other disabilities.
Things that we wouldn't want any veteran to have, but sometimes veterans incur those types of disabilities. And for a Vietnam veteran, they don't have to prove that they were exposed to Agent Orange, but for diseases that aren't presumptive, a veteran has to show evidence of that condition manifesting itself in the service. Is it medical evidence, or what type of evidence might a veteran provide?
In most cases, the VA is going to require medical evidence to show they have the current disability that they're claiming. Again, there are a couple exceptions there. Hearing loss for veterans who had high noise exposure, for example, artillery, work in engine rooms, jet engine mechanics. Their testimony that they have hearing problems related to service, the VA should examine them and schedule an exam to include a medical opinion on the relationship of any hearing problems to their military service.
So all this is governed by the Title 38 of the U.S. Code. This is federal law. So it's not a subjective determination by the VA about whether a veteran really deserves it or not. These are benefits that are intended to help veterans who have incurred a service-related disability. What comes with service connection? When someone establishes that a condition is related to their service, what's the main benefit? We know it's a monetary benefit, but they're given a percentage what's the difference between 0% and 100%?
Well, the 0% veteran, if a veteran is 0% for any condition, he or she may get treatment for that condition on a continued basis for that service-connected condition.
Good to know. Yeah.
Whereas if you have a veteran who is 100% service-connected, that veteran, he or she may get entitlement to cover all service-connected disabilities or even all disabilities in general because they are rated 100%.
And what's the difference really between a veteran getting 0% and 100%? And more specifically, when a veteran says that they have a service-related condition, how does the VA really know to say, well, yeah, but this is 50%, or that's 70%, although this is service-connected, we don't think that you warrant compensation?
Well, the VA uses a rating schedule.
Okay.
The VA is Part 4 of the VA rating schedule, Title 38. And that rating schedule assigns values for each disability, depending on severity, severity of the disability. So if you have a veteran who is service-connected 10% for tinnitus, that's the maximum. Whereas if you have hearing loss, bilateral hearing loss, the veteran can get anywhere from 0 to 100%, depending on severity. And if it's severe enough, they can also get special monthly compensation for loss of use of auditory.
I think it's great that the VA has this benefit. I think having an advocate like our office, Veteran Service Representatives, we're accredited, so we're trained to do what we do. Although we're not lawyers, I essentially think that the representation that veterans receive on the compensation program from our office is equivalent to walking into a courtroom with a lawyer. I encourage any veteran to seek out the assistance of our office if they want to pursue any type of compensation claim to the VA. Let's move along a little bit here because there are other monetary programs, one which is available not only for the veteran, but may also be available for a veteran's surviving spouse. And we're talking about the pension program, disability pension and death pension. Hoff, tell us a little bit about the pension benefit and start by drawing a little bit of a comparison between disability pension and compensation.
Well, a frequent question we'll get is we'll get a call or somebody will come in, or it could be the veteran, it could be a family member, it could be a neighbor that's coming in on behalf of a veteran.
Right.
And they'll want to know if there's any monetary financial assistance available to veterans. And the answer to that is there's basically two programs. There's a disability compensation program we just talked about.
Right.
There's also a program called disability pension. And disability pension is a program for veterans who have wartime service. They don't have to have served in a war situation, simply served in a wartime period.
On active duty during that time?
On active duty.
Okay.
And they have to have limited income, limited assets, and they have to be permanently and totally disabled. The VA will presume that they're permanently totally disabled at age 65. The current income limit for a single veteran is $1,072, and you have to look at that as an income floor. So if a veteran comes into us, and let's just say they're 60 years old and they can no longer work, maybe they're on Social Security disability drawn $800. Well, the VA will pay the difference between the $1,072 and $800. Another part of that program is called aid and attendance, and for those veterans that find themselves in like an assisted living or board and care, if they have in-home care and major expenses, the VA may be able to provide them with some financial assistance. It's a very complicated program.
I want to talk more about this aid and attendance benefit in just a second here. I want to remind our audience tonight that this first show is a three-part segment titled Your VA. And where we're starting tonight is we're featuring the agency that it's not the VA, but is the advocate on behalf of veterans in understanding these VA benefits and actually applying. We have Mike Hofschneider and Bo Jones, who are both veteran service representatives that are members of my team downstairs in the County Veteran Service Office. I want to invite our audience to call in with questions or comments about VA benefits and how our office has helped you, or maybe you have a question about how our office might be able to help you understand a VA benefit. So the aid and attendance, we get a lot of phone calls from folks, and first and foremost, they know about aid and attendance. They don't really sometimes understand that it's under the disability pension or death pension benefit. How does someone meet the criteria for aid and attendance?
Well, for a veteran or for someone really to meet the criteria for aid and attendance, it really involves three things. Basically, they have to either be in a skilled nursing facility, be factually blind, 5'2" or less, or need a factual aid and attendance. In other words, someone to care for them, provide
bowel, bladder, daily activities of living, those type of things.
Bathing, dressing, toilet.
Exactly, and that's a medical determination from a doctor or a medical provider.
Environmental protection is a big part of it too.
That's correct.
Yeah. So where are these benefits processed? We've talked about compensation. We've talked about disability pension. We haven't really talked about death pension, but it's for this. It's the same program as disability pension, but it's for the surviving spouse. We don't process these benefits in our office. We help them understand the benefit, and we help them complete the paperwork and submit the evidence. Where does the compensation program go to? Where does the pension program go to?
Well, before I answer that, Nathan, one thing I also want to point out in the death pension, the income limits are lower. I think for the surviving spouse, it's $714 and $1,149 if there's aid and attendance. The claims we assist veterans with, we file through the Oakland Regional Office, and most of those claims are processed in Oakland. If there's a backlog in Oakland, some of the claims are brokered out to other offices so they could be processed in Lincoln, Nebraska, Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, California. The survivor pension, death claims go to the St. Paul Regional Office, and there's what's called a pension management center that processes the claims there.
So a veteran gets correspondence from one of these offices after we've helped them file the claim. Our office doesn't stop there. We don't just help them understand the benefit, fill out the paperwork, and send it in and forget about it. A big role of our office is case management. We make sure that benefit gets completed all the way until the end. Tell us a little bit about the model of case management in our office, Bo, in terms of what you do on a daily basis to make sure the VAs receive their claim.
Well, we run our daily reports, and on our daily reports, the part of that is to make sure that the VA has received the claim. Then what we will do is we will run our reports, and if the veteran, if we see that the VA has not received the claim, we will do a follow-up. We also make sure that they schedule any required examinations or anything that is required. Right. If VA does not do that, then we tend to give them a follow-up call just to remind them that they are working on a veteran's claim.
Yeah, you mentioned exams. You're talking about a compensation and pension exam, an exam that's usually conducted at the VA. And you're talking about running reports. You're talking about our access to the VA systems. We have access to what kind of systems, Hoff?
Oh, today we have access to most of the VA systems. We have access only to find out what information's in there. We can't change anything, of course, in the VA systems, but we can tell when a claim's been received. We can see where the claim's at. We can even now go into electronic records if we have the representation of record with, and the representation being American Legion, California Department of Veterans Affairs, Veterans of Foreign Wars. So we have an enormous amount of information available to us today that wasn't there 5-10 years ago.
Well, we received a chat here, and I want to go over it now because it includes the two names here. A personal shout out and thanks to your guests, Bo and Hoff, and of course to you, Nathan, for your modest attitude. And I want to mention our entire team. We haven't had a chance to show our whole team yet because they're coming up after we kick Bo and Hoff off the stage here. But and of course to you, Nathan, for your modest attitude. I have been fortunate to have been helped by each of these professionals, and not what I would call an average. This Veteran Service Office team is extremely talented and are true superheroes when it comes to veterans. And that's from our former guest, John Reese, and a member of the Vietnam vets of Diablo Valley. And it's because of John and other members of the Vietnam vets that we have the opportunity to put Hoff out in our outstation in Danville. I want to remind everyone that tonight is a great opportunity to not only meet our team, but to talk about these very, very important benefits that are not welfare. These are benefits that veterans have earned and are available to you. We will return this short video clip. We will return after this short video clip.
My name is Susan Ferguson. I am an executive secretary with Contra Costa County Veteran Services. I've lived in Contra Costa County for the last 40 years. I've raised 2 sons, and one of them did 2 tours in Iraq as a Marine. And prior to him leaving for deployment to Iraq, I made him a promise, and I told him I will do everything in my power to help other people make it through these tough times and help veterans. One of the jobs that I gain the most satisfaction out of is knowing that I'm able to help a surviving spouse who calls and is concerned about benefits once a veteran has passed away. being able to reassure the spouse that we are here to help them and walk them through the process. Knowing that I have lived through, from a mom standpoint, somebody serving in combat allows me to have a better understanding of what these veterans are going through when they come in to the office. It's really a satisfying job, and it's a pleasure to work here and be able to serve our veterans.
My name is Fred Schobert.
I am a retired Navy veteran myself, and what I do is I provide education to veterans as to all the benefits to which they may be entitled and assist them in applying for the benefits to which they may be eligible. But I understand VA's procedures and guidance, and I can provide veterans, I believe, with good advice as to how to best proceed with the claim. I have a natural affinity with veterans and enjoy working with them. I respect them, and I understand the service that they render to their country, and so I identify with veterans, and I really enjoy helping people.
We're back live in Contra Costa TV studio. If you're just tuning in, this is our first installment of Your VA. Tonight's topic is Contra Costa County Veteran Service Office. Once again, we're at 10 Douglas Drive in Martinez. We're not the VA, we're the advocates for veterans and their families. We'd like to hear from you tonight. So far we've had a chat, but we'd like to have your calls. We'd like to have your questions and your comments. And we're now joined by Susan Ferguson and Fred Schobert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So we'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about insurance and the health benefits that are offered by the VA and how you can incorporate through your office those benefits for veterans.
Well, when a veteran has a service-connected disability rating, they may be eligible for life insurance. And part of our job is to make sure that the veteran is aware of that benefit. So it's very important that the veterans come into our office whenever they have any claim pending and have any questions, so that we can make sure that we provide them with what we call the ABC checklist, additional benefits checklist.
So we have a call. We're going to go to the call. But before we take the call, Susan, I just want to mention that it's very important that you pointed that out, because we first started off by talking about compensation and pension, probably the benefit that veterans know most about. But when a veteran comes into our office or a family member comes in, we like to take the opportunity to do a general benefits overview, in which we'll tell them about the important additional benefits like the insurance. And we'll get to other things like healthcare as well in our conversation. But we have a caller. So we have Maurice from El Sobrante. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Mo, how can we help you?
So I recently filed, I'm a 40% service-connected veteran, and I recently called the VA to have a dependent added to my claim. And I haven't heard anything from the VA or received an increase for my dependent. And I kind of wanted to find out what was going on, what might be going on.
Yeah, Mo, thanks for calling our show. And we're aware of the situation because we helped you file the claim for dependency. And, thanks for pointing out, especially that, we may talk a lot about these benefits being available for the veterans, but sometimes the benefits are available for the dependent as well. Like the insurance benefit is likely a benefit that will end up helping out the spouse upon the veteran's death. So, Maurice, what I encourage you to do is contact our office tomorrow. As we mentioned before, we have access to VA systems. Some of these benefits can be very lengthy in terms of the time of processing. And that what the VA is really working towards right now is resolving a very extensive backlog. So they've kind of put some issues like dependency claims on the back shelf. And so unfortunately, in situations like Maurice, he's been waiting on his daughter to be added as a dependent for several months now. But our goal as the County Veteran Service Office is to make sure the VA receives that claim in a timely manner, and that it's processed in a timely manner, and that the outcome of the claim is favorable, right? That's our outcome. So how does that, so thanks for joining us, Maurice. I don't know if you're still there, if you have any other questions or comments, but
Nathan, I would also like to add, it's more complicated than simply calling up the VA and saying, I'd like to add my kid to my award. They really need our assistance
because the VA has certain elements of evidence that they need. For example, the birth certificate, school attendance information, things like that.
We just got a chat come in. I'll read it out and then respond. It says, do you have to use the Veterans Service Office in the county you live in, or can you go to any Veterans Service Office to file a claim? You can go to any Veterans Service Office to file a claim. We encourage you to go to the ones that are in the county you live in to be fair to that county and to the monies that are budgeted for that. But if you, for some reason, don't get a result that you're satisfied with, or you're having problems getting into a county Veterans Service Office, we encourage you to try another office. Not all offices are created equal, and some are busier than others. Some are more difficult. Some take walk-ins. This particular office takes walk-ins. If you come into the main office, you don't have to make an appointment. Some of the other ones, you have to make an appointment. It might be difficult, but they are available. But you can go to anyone where you can get the service that you need. Yeah,
county veteran service offices are the professionals.
Absolutely.
And we want a veteran and their family member to have confidence in their county veteran service office, and that county is well trained to fulfill the needs or to perform the duties of a veteran service representative, help that veteran access that VA benefit. So whether you live in Solano County, Alameda County, some of the surrounding counties here to Contra Costa County, please visit that county veteran service office. It's likely going to be much closer to your home. If you happen to live or work in Contra Costa County, we welcome you into our office. And Fred, we have a lot of veterans coming to see you on a daily basis. You've been in our office for only about 2 years, but you have built quite a following of veterans in our office and family members. And one of the things that you do every week is you spend time over at the clinic in Martinez on Wednesdays visiting veterans who are hospitalized. Tell us a little bit about your experiences at the clinic and what you see in terms of doctors and nurses helping to care for veterans.
You know, many veterans out there aren't even aware that there's an inpatient facility there at the outpatient clinic in Martinez.
Right. A large one.
Right.
There's
the outpatient clinic in Martinez, and then right across the street, there's this other building that you'll see.
Right.
And
a one-story building?
Yeah, it's a one-story building. Most people don't know what it is.
Right.
But it's the Center for Rehabilitation and Extended Care. It's a 120-bed inpatient facility, 24/7 care. It's manned by doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, social workers.
Right.
I go over there once a week at the request of social workers who do their intake exams on veterans coming in and identify veterans who may need a benefits review. And so I'll sit down with a veteran, give them a benefits review, see if they're receiving everything that they're entitled to. If not, we help them file. I help them file a claim, and it's very rewarding. The facility is clean, it's well run, and like I say, it's well staffed too. So a lot of people may not even know it's out there. How do you get into the Center for Rehabilitation and Extended Care? You have to be enrolled in VA healthcare. So it's important that veterans enroll in VA healthcare, even though they may not decide to use it. When I got out of the Navy in 1994, I didn't need VA healthcare because I retired from the Navy. But I am enrolled in VA healthcare anyway, and there's some little-known benefits that were available to me. For example, I enrolled in VA healthcare. I was able to get a free eye exam and eyeglasses every 2 years.
So we have a chat. I want to come back and I want to talk more about the insurance benefits. I want to talk about the home loan guarantee. I want to talk more about the healthcare. You know, being a customer of the healthcare system in the VA myself, I'm a big fan of the VA's healthcare. I think it's one of the most overlooked, underutilized benefits that the VA has available. Much more important than the compensation and pension program. That's how I feel about the VA healthcare. But we have a chat question here, and I'm not sure how it pertains to our topic tonight. It involves tax bill coupons and how to pay for your tax bills. I don't know that chat question, but I'm going to turn it into an opportunity for us to talk about property tax exemptions for veterans, and some of the other small additional benefits that veterans can receive when they get compensation or eligibility for VA healthcare. Susan, tell us a little bit, because you work closely with the tax assessor's office in Contra Costa County. Tell us a little bit about the property tax exemption.
Well, when a veteran is deemed 100% permanent and totally disabled, they're eligible for a tax exemption. And when we receive notification of this award of 100% permanent and total rating, we forward a copy of this award letter to the county tax assessor's office. And Sandy Williams in the Contra Costa County assessor's office will send the veteran forms that for each year to receive a tax exemption. So let's say the veteran filed a claim in 2014, but when the VA adjudicated this claim, they said that the veteran, this disability went back to 2010. Well, the tax assessor's office can do a refund or recalculation of the tax assessment back to the effective date that the disability was granted.
Very important. And a veteran would have to only know about that benefit from an office like ours, and we'd be happy to assist them with the property tax and with the other additional benefits that come from different percentages of rating. Tell us a little bit. Kevin, looked like you had something.
I just think it's so important for the audience to understand that just like you would not go represent yourself in a court of law, that you would want representation from an expert.
Absolutely.
You want to do the same thing with your VA benefits if you served in the military, because I have a 10-county region, so I work with a lot of different county veteran service officers, offices. And what I find more often than not when I ask a veteran or somebody, especially that's been recently separated, have you signed up for your VA healthcare? Have you been to a CVSO's office? The answer typically is, oh, I don't need it. It's not for me. I don't want to take somebody else's benefit. There's that notion that it doesn't belong to them. And I just think it's important and critical. And I want to reiterate what Fred said earlier. You don't know what you don't have until you come in and ask the questions and bring in your DD-214 and let a professional look at it. Because there are things, as Fred pointed out, some nuances that you may not even think about now. And you may be gainfully employed right now, but you don't know where you're going to be next year. Right. You may need some things that you don't have. So it's critically important that every veteran get in and get signed up for their VA healthcare.
And every day, I have at least one or two veterans come in, and as we sit there and chit-chat about the benefits to which they may be eligible, and they sit there and they'll say, well, I didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that. And sometimes I find myself sitting there looking at them saying, where have you been?
Well, you know? And a lot changes over the years, right? A Vietnam veteran or a World War II veteran who got out 40, 50. And I want to mention tonight, I almost failed to mention this, that tonight, or actually the month of March, is the 50th anniversary of the start of the Vietnam War. And so since the start of the Vietnam War 50 years ago, a lot has changed about VA benefits, or a lot has changed about the perception of the VA, or even maybe the way the VA treats its veterans has changed. And so veterans who maybe have tuned the VA out of their life are just tuning in 40, 50 years later after leaving the military and finding out about these benefits that they could have utilized years ago. Home loan guarantee, VA health care, insurance benefits, all these programs that are not welfare. These are programs that veterans have earned. They have served in the military. And I've said before that I think that this is one way in which our country, our nation is thanking our veterans. We don't always want to shake their hands and say thank you because veterans don't always receive that. They don't always receive that well. Sometimes they don't feel like they've really served. Sometimes they don't feel like they've served enough. But our country has said we will take care of our veterans because they have worn the uniform, they've served on active duty, and they've served our country honorably. The healthcare has changed in January 17th of 2003. Tell us a little bit about the main criteria for eligibility for healthcare, Fred. I think it's important for our veterans to understand when and when they're not eligible for healthcare.
There were major changes as a result of post 9/11, I think. And if you've served in a combat zone within the past 5 years, you are eligible to apply for VA healthcare. And in fact, my daughter, who is now a Naval Reservist, has applied for VA healthcare and receives VA healthcare under the provisions of that law.
Did she serve in the reserves and have eligibility, or does she serve on active duty?
She served on active duty and served out in the Persian Gulf. So
Okay.
that was her eligibility.
And when she came home, you're saying she went and enrolled, and now she receives 5 years of cost-free health care from the VA.
That's correct.
Right.
Yes, sir. Also, Vietnam veterans with in-country service Vietnam are eligible for health care. Purple Heart veterans are eligible for health care. POWs, former POWs.
Service in Camp Lejeune.
Right.
Right. Enhanced eligibility is what
Enhanced
it's called. Right. If you don't
eligibility, yes.
qualify based on your income, you may qualify based on the criteria of your service. It's one of the very few programs that has that specific enhanced eligibility.
And even if you don't have any of those eligibilities, you should still apply for VA health care, but you may be subject to a means test.
Much more to talk about. We're out of time, unfortunately. So we will return shortly after this video clip.
My name is Jenna Gavin Spears. Originally from Texas, I live in Concord. Working with veterans is very rewarding just generally. And so my role here in the office, basically what I do is I assist veterans in understanding the VA benefits, understanding the way the VA works, just generally being their advocate. A lot of times, you know, those VA letters can get overwhelming. The regulations can be overwhelming, and it's sometimes nice to have somebody walk you through the process and help you understand what's going on. Our veterans are some of the strongest people I've ever met in my life, and it's really cool to know those kind of people. I've always been drawn to superheroes and kind of anti-heroes. There is a characteristic that runs through many veterans. They are very selfless, and in many instances, they help people without being asked to help people. And in some way, that makes them hero-like, right?
I'm originally from Oregon, born and raised there. So my main responsibility is to greet the veterans coming in, finding out exactly what it is that they need, what we need to do to assist them. I was a Marine. I was in the Marine Corps for 11 years. I was an infantryman. I did 3 tours to Iraq. As far as working in the office, I would say, yeah, it's definitely beneficial because, you know, I can connect with the veterans and I know, you know, essentially what the things that they're saying. You know, it's kind of hard to communicate some of the things that, you know, that you want to say unless the person understands the culture of the military and where you came from. And so, you know, I'm kind of able to communicate with them on a different level.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices. We would encourage you to call in or chat with us or contact us via email because this is an interactive show. It's important that you participate in this show with us. In fact, on that point, we have a chat here that on the screen. Can you file a claim on behalf of a family member, or does the veteran have to file the claim themselves? What do you say there, Nathan?
Well, that's a great question because that's been evolving recently with the VA. You know, traditionally the regulations required the veteran file the original claim on their own, and then if an accredited representative was appointed for that veteran, then that accredited representative could file a claim on their behalf. We do that all the time in our office. Once an original claim has been filed by a veteran, we can file follow-up claims like new claims or reopen claims on behalf of that veteran. But this question is bringing attention to a very important regulation that just changed in the VA, in which the VA is allowing, in the instance where a veteran is incapacitated, if someone holds a durable power of attorney, they can file a claim on behalf of that veteran. And in some instances, the person filing the claim is not a veteran because some benefits apply to the surviving spouse. So it's the surviving spouse who's the claimant. Or in the instance of burial reimbursement, it's whoever incurred those expenses on behalf of the veteran. It could be a neighbor next door. It could be a friend. It could be a mortuary. And so it's not always the veteran filing the claim. It's important that, however, that the veteran does come into our office and learn about the benefit. We want them to file that original claim, and then we can help them from there once they've established an organization like Calvet or American Legion as their representative. So thank you for that question. Very important question. And we hope to get more questions like this.
And with that, we are now joined by 2 more staff members of the county's VSO, Jenna Galvin Spears and Ira Prawl. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Welcome, Jenna. Welcome, Ira.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we're going to move into a very important benefit in which you both have real experience working with, and that's the education benefit. And a little disclaimer here, when I joined the Marine Corps, it was because of the GI Bill. It was because I knew that when I finished my time in the Marine Corps, I could go to college. And that GI Bill was such an important decision to make and join the Marine Corps, and it was in the forefront of my mind throughout my time in the Marine Corps that when I left, it's the first thing I did. I used the VA's education benefits. And those benefits have grown immensely in the past couple of years. As Fred mentioned, since 9/11, the healthcare has changed, but also the education benefits have changed. So Jenna, start us off. You used to work in an educational institution, used to help veterans apply for education benefits. You do so in our office as well as the other benefits. But tell us a little bit about the opportunities available to veterans when they want to go to school.
Okay, well, the newer GI Bill is the post-9/11 GI Bill. And as you mentioned, following 9/11, a lot of the benefits were enhanced. And so the post-9/11 GI Bill, it not only gives them tuition and fees covered at an in-state school. If they go to a private school, they will hit a cap.
Right.
If they're at 100%, which they would have had to serve 36 months following 9/11, 2001, in order
not to be confused with 100% service connected.
Correct.
If they're 100% entitled to the education benefit because of the time they served. Okay.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for that clarification.
So much complex information,
I know.
right?
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. So anyways, if they have that entitlement, they're entitled to a housing allowance, which is currently at E5 with dependents, and a book stipend. And then the tuition is covered for the highest in-state school tuition. And like I mentioned, if they are at a private institution, there will be a cap.
So a lot of veterans who served after post 9/11 don't even know about the post 9/11 GI Bill because it didn't come out until 2009. So any veteran who served after 9/11 has eligibility for the post 9/11 GI Bill, even if they didn't contribute towards it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, are a lot of veterans using this benefit? Is it widely used?
Yes. Lots of veterans are using it. The other thing that should be noted at this point is if they contributed into the Montgomery GI Bill.
Right.
As a lot of veterans.
The $1,200.
Exactly. Okay. When they're completing their application, if they decide to complete their application online, it's important to note that in the remarks because the VA will refund that money to them once they complete their entitlement.
Now, Ira, if you don't mind, I want to bring you into this. You work in our office. You're a clerk. You don't have the role as veteran service rep, but you, on a very daily basis, help veterans understand benefits. So it's great to have you up here. But I want to bring you into this on the level of being a student veteran yourself and using the GI Bill. Can you tell us a little bit about the experience of using your post 9/11 GI Bill and who helps you in this process? Do you do it online? Do you do it through an office like ourselves? Is there a vet rep at your school? What do you have to do to get the benefit every semester?
Yeah, absolutely. The GI Bill is great. It allows me to go to school and really not have to worry about a lot of monetary instability. So it's very helpful. As far as getting started, I actually was able to start mine before I left the Marine Corps. I did that through my education center on base. But we get, on a daily basis, veterans coming in that are just learning about it, and we help them in our office, of course, apply for these benefits. Once they've applied for the benefits and they get their acceptance letter from the VA, all they have to do is take that to their school. And there is a vet rep at the school, not to be confused with our vet reps, but a representative that's there at the school.
A school employee.
A school employee.
Right. Not a VA employee.
Not a VA employee. School employee that has all the information of what they need to do. And most schools, all it is simply filling out a form of what classes they intend to take. They turn that into the representative there, and then those classes are certified by a certifying official. Now, with that being said, the classes that they take have to be in line with their education program.
Okay.
For instance, I'm an administration of justice major. Right. I can't take a yoga class just because I want to. It has to be classes that are in line with my education goal in order for the VA to pay for them.
Now,
and I think it's important at this point, again, I keep bringing back this example, that veterans hook up with the veteran representative on campus or get advice from a professional either in an office, in one of the veteran service offices, so they don't misuse their benefit. Otherwise, they'll find out at the end of their 39 months, they didn't get their degree because they didn't follow the guidelines. And it's very confusing. It's very complicated, like everything with the VA is.
You're absolutely right, Kevin. And I'd like to caveat that with saying, if I would not have done it through the education center while I was leaving the Marine Corps, There's no way that I could figure it out on my own, and I'd like to think I'm a fairly smart guy. But it's a confusing process.
So we'll talk more about the education benefit. I want to mention we had a phone call. So someone called in during the show, but we've converted it to a chat message. So I'm going to read the chat message here. Go ahead, Ken.
Go ahead.
So Marion from El Sobrante says, former veterans Women's Army Corps. So I guess Marion served in the Women's Army Corps. Can I qualify for durable medical equipment such as a power wheelchair and accessible ramp? Okay, so the Women's Army Corps, if you served in the Army on active duty under honorable conditions, you have eligibility for VA benefits. If you served maybe during a period of time like World War II, there are certain service criteria or certain characterizations of service. I want to say merchant Marines, for example, that during World War II, the Congress has basically recognized as having served in the military. Mary, what I invite you to do is come into our office. We'll take a look at your period of service, and we'll see if it makes you eligible for VA healthcare, which is your question, or for any other VA benefits. And I encourage anyone who served during the World War II period who feels that they had a role during World War II to come into our office. There's all kinds of other eligibility for folks who served in geological services of the federal government as well. So,
and being over in El Sobrante, Tuesday would be a good day to come see you over in your Richmond office.
Very good point. Absolutely. And then if there's eligibility for VA healthcare, then through the prosthetics department, they would be able to help Mary and other veterans understand whether they can get certain types of equipment like wheelchairs. Accessibility ramps, the VA healthcare system has a HISA grant. The VA also has SAH and SHA grants, depending upon the veteran's need for adaptation of the house for bathing or for accessibility up stairs or downstairs and such. So thanks, Marion, for the call and for the question. And I want to take our direction back to the education benefits. There's the GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill we've talked about. There is the VOC rehab program as well, which is very similar to the GI Bill. But, the VOC rehab folks like our veterans to understand that the VOC rehab program is not an education benefit. What is the VOC rehab program? If it's not education, what is the intent of VOC rehab?
So the intent of VOC rehab is to actually retrain the veteran into another form of employment that maybe if they have a service-connected disability, they're unable to do their current line of work or whatever their MOS was. So it's a way for them to get retrained into a line of work that they can actually do comfortably. So there are criteria for it. They have to have a 10% service-connected disability with a severe employment handicap or a 20% service-connected ability with, a moderate employment handicap.
Both the post 9/11 GI Bill and the VOC rehab have expiration dates. So a veteran has 12 years to use the VOC rehab program from the date they establish service connection. A veteran has 15 years to use the post 9/11 GI Bill. Veterans should come in and find out about the VOC rehab program and the post 9/11 GI Bill program right away. Now let's start talking about benefits for dependents. We have a chat question, but it's going to relate to this next topic. So one of the busiest times that we get in our office, Ira, is sometime around June, September, and January. Veterans and their dependents are coming into our office. They're applying for a California tuition fee waiver provided by the California Department of Veterans Affairs, but administered through our County Veterans Service Office. Tell us a little bit about the California tuition fee waiver, Ira.
Absolutely. So it's not a VA benefit. Like you said, it's run through Calvet. We process it right in our own office. So there's no VA involvement. It takes us a very short period. And what it's for is for dependents of veterans who have a service-connected disability rating. That's one of the most important things to remember about this, because we have veterans that call asking about it, but they do not have a service-connected disability rating because they've never come into our office to file for it. So one of the very important things is they need to come into our office to file for that service connection. Once they have a service-connected disability rating, they now qualify for this program where their dependents can go to any California school free of tuition and fees. So that's CSUs, UCs, and California community colleges.
Right.
Now, there's two separate plans involved with the fee waiver program. There's Plan A and Plan B. Plan A only applies to veterans who have a 100% service-connected disability rating.
Right.
Plan B is for any other rating, 0% all the way up through 90%. Well, 100% as well. And what Plan B is, it's an income-based program, and the dependent has to make less than the national poverty limit, which for 2013,
the dependent, not the veteran,
not the veteran,
the child themselves.
The child themselves. It makes no matter what the veteran makes.
Right.
It's about what the child makes.
And they usually prove that by their last year's taxes,
1040.
or if they didn't earn any money, then they can do a statement of non-filing or request a statement of non-filing from the IRS. And so they come into our office, they apply for the tuition fee waiver. You do several of these applications, especially during the height of the beginning of a semester. And you've mentioned how easy it is. Can a veteran find out about this benefit online? Is there information online that they can start with, or should they come into our office first?
Absolutely. You know, if they want to do a little bit of research on their own prior to, it's on our website. It's on the Calvet website. It's in the Calvet resource book. Right. And you know what I find is that a lot of veterans will research it and they'll find information on it, and then they'll call us for further guidance and further information. You know, I'd also like to mention that there's no expiration on this benefit. A dependent could theoretically, as long as they're going to a California college, go all the way through their doctorate.
Okay. I want to stop us because we have a caller we have folks calling in. This is great. People are tuning into the show. They're paying attention to the topic. This caller didn't want to go live, so we're going to bring them in as a chat here in just a few seconds. While we're waiting, I'm going to recap. The post 9/11 GI Bill, VOC rehab, tuition fee waiver for public institutions in the state of California. So you can't take it to a college like St. Mary's or Stanford. God forbid you go. So, but let's talk about Chapter 35 real quickly. And we have this, the team's working really hard on getting this message transcribed. But Chapter 35, Dependents Educational Assistance, and how that's different or how that can work together with a tuition fee waiver.
Okay, well, the difference for Chapter 35 is it's actually a benefit that a dependent would get if their parent, spouse is considered 100% permanent and totally disabled. And so it is a monthly stipend. So it's a little bit different. Their tuition's not getting paid for. They're getting a monthly stipend from the VA due to the veteran's VA-rated disability.
Great. Education benefits, health care, disability compensation, disability pension, insurance, home loan guarantee, many, many, many more other than that. That's just the basics. I want to say real quickly, we've had some folks call at the end. Jamie from Walnut Creek, I want to acknowledge your call and your chat here. Jamie, you served in the Air Force Reserves. Thank you for your service. I want to mention that most of the eligibility for VA benefits depends on the veteran requires that the veteran have served on active duty for purposes other than training under honorable conditions. Now, if you served in the reserves, there still may be some eligibility for the home loan guarantee or for a burial flag, or if you've had a significant injury on active duty, during training, the VA may establish service connection. So important that Jamie sent that question in, and we have another caller we haven't been able to get to. Thank you so much, everyone, for calling tonight. We encourage you to do so during our next shows. We'd like to share something exciting with you We've recently launched our Facebook and Twitter pages in the past 5 weeks, and we've gotten a huge response. We've been celebrating every week almost as our Facebook page gains another 100 likes. Well, I think we're well over 700 or 800 Facebook likes at this point. People are watching the show. They're paying attention. We're receiving tons of great feedback, questions, and ideas from our viewers. We're now reaching more people than ever before and hearing many veterans' voices. That's what this show is about. So thank you to our followers and friends. Keep the feedback coming. Look us up on Facebook and Twitter. Our profile name is Veterans Voices 1.
On our website, you will find a list of helpful veteran resources that were discussed in tonight's show. If you don't have access to the internet, call the Veteran Service Office number listed on the screen. The California Association of County Veteran Service Officers can be reached at cacvso.org. To find a service officer in your county, go to the Contact Us tab. If you are tuning in out of state and would like to find a VSO in your area, go to the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers at nacvso.org and go to the find a Service Officer tab. For general Veterans Affairs information and benefits, go to va.gov. The California Department of Veterans Affairs can be reached at 800-952-5626 or our website at calvet.ca.gov. I encourage every veteran to go to My Calvet and sign up. Lastly, we'd like to direct you to the Contra Costa Veteran Service Office, which was highlighted in tonight's show. You have met a bunch of fine professionals here tonight, and I want to thank them all for being here. They do a great job representing you with our VA. I'm not part of that office, so I wanted to give my thumbs up from me personally.
Well, Kevin, I couldn't agree anymore. I'm a part of the office, and it's an honor to be the County Veteran Service Officer in this county. I have to acknowledge my predecessors, Gary Villalba, Phil Munley. They really have established a fantastic office, and I am joined by a fantastic team of trained, accredited representatives here to help veterans and their family members. We have some veterans events coming up in the area soon. On March 19th, there will be a stand down on the Delta Public Meeting. Doors open to the public at 7 p.m. This will be held at the American Legion in Antioch. Visit deltaveteransgroup.org/events for more information. VetNet is on the March 27th. This is a Veterans Networking Job Club. Visit vecofccc.org for more information. On April 16th, the American Legion is having a day at the races in Albany at Golden Gate Fields. Tickets are $39. Reservations need to get in by April 8th. Call 925-482-0788 for more information. The Modern Era Veterans Barbecue will be held on Sunday, April 18th at the Veterans Memorial Building in Danville. RSVP with Hank at 925-998-3671 or email info@vfwpost75.org. The Walk of Honor, a fantastic event put on by Vietnam veterans of Diablo Valley for our veterans, is taking place on May 16th. Check-in will be at 8 a.m. at the Crockett Community Center. For more information, go to sfrwalkofhonor.com. This year, VetCon is back. It will be held at the Hilton Hotel in Concord, August 17th. Go to vetcon.org or call 415-413-8251 for more information. Very excited about this year's VetCon. Our next Veterans Voices will be on April 20th, and our topic is Veterans Affairs. We're going to have the VA Regional Office Director from Oakland on this show. We hope to have the VA Director from the Northern California Healthcare System as well. This will be our second installment of Your VA series. Tune in on CCTV or watch the live stream on our website. We want to remind you that this episode will be rebroadcast on CCTV Monday nights at 7 p.m., Wednesdays at 11, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. You can watch all past episodes anytime on our website, contracostatv.org/Veterans Voices. I want to thank our guests and our viewers. I want to thank my team. They did a fantastic job. I want to thank everyone who called into the show tonight, who left chat, who left emails, all of our hardworking crew on the set of CCTV. This is Veterans Voices of Contra Costa, wishing you all a good evening. Thank you for serving.